I couldn't wait to sit down and talk to you. You are someone that walks through this community with so much grace, and you're so regal despite everything you have gone through. Let's talk first about your backstory. We all know you as Zenobia Dobson's mother, the heroic 15-year-old boy who gave his life. But let's talk about when Zay was little, and maybe a story not a whole lot of folks know about you that brought us to today. Tell us about your track through sobriety and getting your life on track.
Commitment, for one thing. I made a commitment to myself that I wanted to be a good mother to my sons. I just wanted that for them. I wanted the best for my babies. And I knew that, hey, if I changed my life, it would be for their good and mine too. But for my sons, I made that commitment. I made a vow to the Lord that, hey, God, if you allow me this, I won't go back. And I didn't go back.
And it was a judge who showed you some mercy that day because he saw that you had young children.
She.
Oh, was it she? Okay.
Yes, she did. And she was just like, Zenobia, I'm doing it for your babies. And of course, Zavion was with me in the courtroom. He was there. And hey, she was just like, hey, I'm doing it for your children. And I know that you can do this. And I was just like, no, I just want you to let me go. I want you to let me out. And she was like, no, Zenobia, it's something more that I see in you to do. And hey, the moment that I went to treatment, it was just up from there. It was up from there. I couldn't look back. I knew that when me, Zach, Zavion, and Mark Haston, when we got to this little small room, it was not my home because I already had a home. And we went to another home, a group home.
Okay.
And when we got there, I just looked around those four walls. And I looked up at the ceiling and I said, Lord, this is where you want me to be. And hey, I won't go back. I won't look back because I want to go home. And that's where I went after that.
It was a lot of tough decisions for you in that moment. How did you stay so focused? Because I think a lot of people underestimate how hard it is to get clean, to be sober, and to get your life back on track. What kind of got you through the program?
The grace of God. I know I prayed a lot. I prayed and asked God, would he take that taste away from me?
Yeah.
And he did. It was just like drinking water. The taste went away. And the taste in my mouth, I was just like, once it's gone, it's gone. I'm not going back. And I made a vow to myself I couldn't go back.
What happened after that? You really turned your life around. I mean, you had your boys in community programs. You went back to work, and you found a church home, and you were
yes.
Just kind of walk me through that. You did a 180 out of that courtroom.
Well, my family was my main support. My mother, she was just always there for me and my children. She never split them up. She never split us up. She kept us grounded in the Lord first. And she was just so important to me at that time because she never judged me. She knew exactly what I was going through, and she understood me when no one else did. And with her, I couldn't have done it. She was just like, hey, I know where you are with this, and I know that you can change your life because I changed my life. My mother, she told me the same. And she said, hey, I know you can do this. And just with her believing in me and understanding who I am as her daughter and understanding me as a mother, she knew that, hey, you can change your life and you can come home and be a mother to your children.
So what were you all doing? What were the boys involved in? What did you do to kind of get them, you got to keep kids interested
yes.
and out of trouble. So what were you doing to make sure your boys were on the right path?
Well, church, first of all, we would go to church on Sundays and Wednesday night Bible study. We would always go to church. My family, we grew up in the church, and hey, that was just it. The foundation that was built. My grandmother, she would always have us all going to church, and it was just like family all the time. And hey, they sung in the choir, they ushered, they took up offering. And Zach and Zavion, they would always sit in their same seats. And I would sit behind them, making sure that they were doing what they were supposed to be doing.
Not
paying
talking,
attention,
not talking.
and paying attention to the pastor and understanding the word and just discipline and understanding, the proverbs in the scripture, is real. And I would always tell them when they were sleeping at night, I would read scriptures to them and just asking God for protection over my babies because I understood what the world was outside of my home. I just wanted my home to be of love and be safe. And as long as I knew love, my children, they were going to show love back.
Wow. So many moms have that same prayer. Tell me about Zavion. What was he like? I mean, we've talked about him in the news and there have been articles about him, but a mother knows him best. What was he like?
Zavion, he was a beautiful soul. A beautiful soul. I remember when he was born, I just kept feeling those kicks in my belly. And from that moment, that allowed me to get clean as well because I knew I had a baby in my stomach. And hey, it was just a miracle. I knew that was a blessing from God. So I understood it to the fullest. And when he come out, he was just a beautiful baby. And they kept telling me, it's got a head full of hair because I didn't know what it was, but I knew in my heart that he was going to be a boy. But when he come out, he was just a beautiful baby. And I was thinking really hard about his name. And I was just like thinking of so many names. And I picked Zavion. And I knew that that was just a blessing from God for me to understand his name. It was different. I didn't think that no one else's name would be Zavion, but hey, now it is a lot of Zavions, and I'm like, wow, I thought he was the only one. But I thought long and hard about his name, and I just knew that in my heart that he saved his mother. He saved me.
What was his personality? Was he the jokester of the boys? Was he the quiet one?
Zavion was the serious one. He would always be the one that wanted to take care of home, and he always wanted to be the protector of home. He was a cancer, and Zavion, he was just so sweet. His heart was just so pure. He spoke his mind. He spoke what he felt in his heart.
So fast forward to December 2015. I remember that morning because we get so many alerts about different things happening in the city on the scanners. But that morning was different because it just felt like the mayor and the police chief, it was a different feel because we didn't know then that they were about to talk about this young man that they knew and that was such a wonderful young man. To walk us through what happened that night when you got the notification, you just walk us through that night for you.
Well, I remember, I'm gonna back it all the way up. Zavion, when he was at school, he called me all day on the phone. He just called me all day asking for permission. And even from the time before he left the game, before he came home that night, he called and asked, could he go to a friend's house? And I said, no, Zavion, come home. And he was obedient from the beginning. Zavion came home. And I was gone, but I arrived home, and Zavion was standing in the door. And he was waiting on me to arrive home like I asked him to wait. He held the door open one last time for me. He held the door open for me, and I walked in the door, and then he asked permission to leave. And I told him yes. I said, you can go. So Zach, Zavion, and their friend Xavier, they were all three together, and they went out the back door. And I just, I knew where they were going. And after maybe 30 minutes, I heard gunshots. And I already knew that my sons had just walked out the door. And I was like, wow. I was talking to my mother on the phone. And I kept hearing gunshots, and I told my mother, I said, I will call you right back. She was like, where the kids? Where the kids? I said, Mom, I'm going to call you right back. But at the time, I paused for a minute, and I was just like, God, protect my children. I know they just walked out the door. And lo and behold, I had a knock on the door, maybe 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes later, a knock on my door, and I just paused. And I just began praying right then, Lord, I know something's happening. I know something is happening.
You felt it.
I did. And I just was like, I'm just praying for my kids, just praying for them because I knew. And the lady that knocked on my door, she was like, just come with me right away. It's Zach. He really needs you. And I said, where are they? She said, just come with me. And I just took off running. I was in the house doing my chores, my nightly chores. I took off running out the door. I saw ambulance, police, everything. And I got to the top of the community of Lonsdale. I got to the top of Goins. And I saw lights, and I saw yellow tape. And I saw Zach. He was the first one. He said, Mama. And he had this look in his eyes. And I was like, Zach, what's going on? He said, it's Zavion. I said, is Zavion okay? He dropped his head. He said, no, he's not. And I was like, Zach, what's going on? He said, Zavion didn't make it. And I thought about his whole life. And I thanked the Lord at the same time for allowing his life. Allowed me to be his mother. And thank you just for all the great moments. Just thank you for everything, Lord. Thank you for him.
You thought that in the midst of receiving that news?
Absolutely. I just told God, thank you. Thank you, Lord, for him. His whole life flashed before me, but I know he had a good life. I tried my best with him. And I knew that Zavion had a good life. He did. We did everything together. From the time he was born to the time he was 15, just everything. He would always tell me, thank you, Mama. And I thank the Lord back for allowing me Zavion.
How did you find out what happened, those moments about him becoming a hero and protecting his friends?
When I found out, it just made me so very proud of him. I knew that Zavion was a protector. I already knew that from my heart that he was. And I could see him jumping on top of Faith and Kiara that night. I could see him protecting Zach always. He would always take up for Zach. He was just their protector. And I knew in my heart that he did. And like I said, I thank God for that moment. In spite of the difficulty, and I knew that he was murdered for no reason, but I still thank God for his life.
Parents, parents who have children who are maybe going down the wrong path, maybe involved with gangs, there's a different fear there because you think something may happen to them, but your boy was a good boy.
Amen.
He was a good boy, just at the wrong place at the wrong time. How do you as a mom reconcile that you did your part and it just happened?
Zavion was home. He was at home. He was outside of where he lived in the community in Lonsdale, and that's where he was raised. He had no fear about where he was. He asked for permission that night to go, and I gave him permission. And had I not gave him permission, maybe it would have been different for me. But he was disciplined. He asked, Mama, can I go? And I told him yes. But he was obedient from the beginning. When I told him on the phone to come home, he came home. And he was obedient to what I told him to do. And just understanding that, that's what God chose for Zavion. I trust in the Lord, and my faith keeps me strong. But that night when he died, I feel like God chose him. I feel like he called him. Many are called and few are chosen. He chose him that night. because it could have easily been more than just they.
Yeah, that's right. Do you ever talk to Faith and Kiera, or have you ever spoken to them?
Yes, yes. Faith and Kiara, they're doing well. They both have children. They both have little girls. Faith has a daughter, and Kiara has a daughter. And there's some beautiful little girls, and when I look at them, I just pray for them and thank God for them as well.
The world really took to this situation. Crime happens and you hear about it one day and it's gone the next. But Zavion's story resonated with people all across the world. One of the most notable moments when former President Obama even mentioned and talked about his heroes. Let me say that again. The world really responded to Zavion's story. Former President Obama even chiming in, calling him a hero in that moment. What was it like for you as a mother to hear the then president at that time talk about your child?
Honor. When I heard it, I was just so like, wow, it was so amazing to me. For President Obama to shout out Zenobia Dobson, that was just true honor. And I knew that it was of the Lord.
At what point did you realize this is big? Like, this could be a game changer for Knoxville. We can do something to hopefully save other boys and girls from the same fate.
From that moment, I understood how important it is to speak on what's right and advocate for our children in the city. Because it's some more Zavions, it's some more babies that want to go to school. They want to be great. They want to accomplish their goals. They want to follow their dreams. It's more children in our city that have those
Dreams.
their eyes on those dreams.
Yeah.
And I understand that. So it was so important for me to advocate, not only for Zavion, but for Jacqueline, for Markaston, and for the children in the Lonsdale community. At school, hey, they loved it. They loved their community. They understood where they were from. And they used to always tell me about their friends, and they just wanted to have fun. They just wanted to grow up.
Tell me about your trip to the ESPY Awards.
It was fun. It really was. It was just so amazing to me to see Kobe Bryant, to see LeBron James, and to meet Billie Jean King, and to meet Layla Ali. It was so amazing. It was different because Eric Berry and Zavion and Zach, Eric Berry was a mentor to my children when they were young. As Eric Berry and his mother, they sit behind me. And to see tears flowing down his face, I was just like, wow, I never thought that it would come to this conclusion. To see Eric Berry and his mother cry, it was just so amazing to me because I know that they were our friends from the beginning. Before any of this happened, they were friends, and they were there to support us 100%.
I remember that day or that night when you were on TV and you had a beautiful red dress and your boys were by your side. Do those moments, like the ESPYs and hearing the president talk about your child, and even the press conference that morning when they explained who the victim of the shooting was and that this young man was doing things and he was a part of this community and doing good things and a football player, do you hold on to those moments to get you through? Because, as a mom, I look at you and I don't even know how you do this because you are truly an inspiration with the way you hold your head high and tell your son's story and just keep his memory alive. What keeps you going?
Thank you so much for that. What keeps me going is my heart. It's so strong. It's so full of love. And had I not had love in my heart, I don't think that I could make it. I trust in the Lord, and my faith, it keeps me so strong. I believe in the power of love. If we had more love, it wouldn't be so much evil. but the love in my heart allowed me to keep moving. It gives me strength every day. It allows me to thank the Lord every day. It's just that vessel of my heart that just keep on beating for a reason.
Tell me about that pin you're wearing.
Forever my angel. Zavion, he'll be forever my angel. He sent me so many signs from heaven. I know it's a heaven, and I know it's a God. And the signs that the Lord send me on a daily allow me to know that I have an angel in heaven. And I know that Zavion, he's with my sister, he's with my grandmother and my dad. I know it's a heaven, and I know it's a God.
Give me a tissue. I'm pretty sure my face is like melting off the side. I'm trying so hard not to cry. Thank you. You're fine. I just want to wipe my face real quick. When you have a story like this and you have a crime like this, you want justice.
Absolutely.
Tell me about what it was like when you found out that there was an arrest that was made in Zavion's murder.
I knew that someone was responsible for Zavion's death. And I wanted justice always and accountability. I just kept praying to the Lord, Lord, will you just allow the truth to be told about what happened to my son? I wanted to know what happened. So I just started digging deep and asking questions about, hey, who did this and why would they just shoot at kids randomly? But when I found out the truth about it, I was just like, hey, they should be held accountable for this. My son, justice will be served, but it's called accountability for your wrongdoings.
Did the convictions give you any peace? Or does it, we always say justice for families, but does it really, did you feel something when that case was closed and they were convicted?
Yes, I felt peace. I felt peace in my heart, I did, but still, at the same time, it's a domino effect. We all fall. Zavion's life was taken, and then the young men, their lives were taken as well, gone to prison for the rest of their lives. It's like a no-win situation. We all fall, and that's what happened in our community. With the violence and all that's going on, it's underserved. It should be jobs, it should be education, it should be something always set in place, because that's a major factor in our city. They're picking up guns and they're shooting for no reason. So I went to the root of the evil that came about in that situation. The young men were too young to be carrying guns from the beginning. In my heart, in my opinion, I think that it was just wrong from the beginning for them to have a gun and shoot for nothing at all. But if you're going to have a gun, you should use it to protect you always. But that was not the case. So yes, I think that they should be held accountable for their wrongdoings.
How have you rebounded from this? You started a foundation with your baby's name on it. Tell me what have you been doing lately?
I've just been, just thinking about my community always, and the Zenobia Dobson Memorial Foundation, it was always established around Zavion's goals and achievements throughout his lifetime. It implements the struggles of Zavion. He wasn't always, a good kid all the time. So I understood it from the fullest about Zavion. Hey, I'm going to start this foundation because I know it's some more Zavions at Fulton. I know it's some more Zavions at Lonsdale Elementary and Willow Springs Middle School as well, where he attended. I know it's some more Zavions that want to manifest and be great in their lifetime.
What are some of the things y'all been doing? I love, one of my favorite things is the back to school for Zay with the book bags. And just tell me some of the things you all do to just impress these kids in the community.
Yes, well, we go to the Lonsdale school. And hey, the kids at Lonsdale Elementary School, that's where it all started for Zavion, Zach, and Marquesa, and me. We all went to Lonsdale Elementary School. But hey, that's where it all started. And I just like to go and give back to the school. And the kids, they be like, Zavion, he's my hero. I said, Zavion, he's my hero too. But I just love pouring in my community because it's so underserved. And sometimes I still go and revisit Lonsdale. And I go and walk around, and it holds a lot of memory, a lot of family, a lot of friends. That's where it all started, the root of it.
You all recently gave out some scholarships as well.
Absolutely. To Fulton High School, the Zenobia Dobson Memorial Foundation Scholarship. Like I said, it reflects his goals and achievements of his lifetime. Zavion wanted to go to college. He loved Alabama. Sorry, Tennessee. But he really did.
That's okay.
Him and his brother Zach, they love the game of football. And football build their character. It taught discipline. And hey, I think their mentors and their coaches, without them, hey, Zach and Zavion, I don't believe that they could have accomplished what they accomplished because, you know, they believed in their coaches. Their coaches believed in them. And hey, I see it on the sideline. I see it at practice. I see it all the time because I still go to games. And I just love it. I love the drive. And I know what it taught my children. It built character.
It's been some years now, and people, their love for your son and for keeping his memory alive, it feels like it's as fresh today as it was when this happened in 2015. How does it make you feel to know that people still love and care for, and just haven't let his memory fade?
I mean, it manifests every day. I mean, it's just a blessing to even just hear someone say his name. And I'm like, wow, I get all happy when I see the number 24. Some little kids, they be like, Miss Zenobia, I'm wearing 24. And I just be so happy about it. The little league, because, hey, I know what it took for Zach and Zavion to get to where they went because of Little League. I know what it taught them. And it's just such a blessing to see it. And just for people to go on and carry his memory, it's awesome.
When I think of you, I think of a phoenix, you know, the bird that dies and then rises from the ashes. You keep rising with every little blow that comes your way. You keep rising. Your latest rise was your pardon from the governor. Tell me, now when you got that call, I'm pretty sure there was some shouting. What was that like to be pardoned for your previous conviction?
It did not define me. It did not define my character or any of that because I'm still Zenobia. And hey, once he gave me a chance, I know the judge told me from the beginning, I believe in you and I'm a judge of second chances and I'm so glad that I gave you one because, hey, look what you went and did. And when Governor Lee called me, I was just like, yes! I was at work, but I stepped in another room and he was like, Zenobia Dobson. And I was like, hey, he said, this is Governor Lee. And he told me that. And I said, thank you so much because at this time, I celebrate my sobriety. And when it all came together full circle. And I'm just so thankful for that because I know what it took for me to accomplish that goal. And for that to happen, it was a gift from God.
What does that mean for you? What does his pardon mean for you, for your life and your livelihood?
For my life, I can go ahead and be me. I can move forward. I don't have anything holding me back. I can get a job and I can get a place to live and it's not on my record. And, you know, just for that being on your record, it's just like, hey, you know, people think the worst of you. But it never defined who I am as a woman. I know who I am as a woman and, hey, I just want to be me. I want to remain authentic always.
How do you want people to remember you? We always talk about remembering Zavion, but there was a strong woman who was his mother and who was a good mother. How do you want people to remember you and your legacy?
I want them to remember me as a sweet lady. Like a lot of people always tell me that I'm so sweet. But I just want them to remember me as being real and staying true. I know I'm a Pisces and I'm so emotional and I'm just so authentic about it all. I want to keep it real with myself first. I understand who I am as a woman and I just want to follow my purpose. And when I ask God, what is my purpose? He just keeps showing me. And hey, I just keep following my purpose and doing what it is that I love. And that's being me and staying true to myself and being real.
Thank you for talking with me. It has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Just keep going. Keep going. That's all I can say.